I'm Boosted John, and I build Hondas in my garage. I've been working on Hondas almost every single day for about 5 years now. And today we're going to be replacing the heater core on my 2000 Honda Civic HX Coupe. It's obviously EK chassis, year 2000. And the reason that we're gonna be doing that is because this car is leaking coolant from the frame rails. Yes, underneath the car, from the frame rails. Coolant is dripping out of there. Also, the carpet in the passenger side is a little bit damp. You can see I've already pulled up the carpet. I kind of was just feeling around. Carpet's a little bit damp, kind of closer to the trans tunnel area. I know it's not the trans tunnel, but you know what I'm saying? Oh yeah, I already got coolant fingers. I have pulled a dash out of an EK before, so I already have a pretty good idea how this is gonna go. And my promise to you is that by the end of today's video, you are gonna know exactly how to replace your heater core with full confidence, and you're gonna be able to do it yourself at home. The plan here today is to first drain the coolant, then tear apart the dash, pull out the heater core, make sure it's actually leaking, install a new one, put the dash back in, replace the water pump, refill and bleed the cooling system, and check for leaks. Hopefully by the end of today's video, we have a perfectly functioning cooling system in my 2000 Honda Civic HX Coupe. With that being said, let's get started with draining the coolant. I hate coolant. It's my least favorite fluid in probably the entire world. I hate coolant. I bought this Honda Civic over 6 months ago as a non-running and incomplete K-swap project with the goal of finishing the swap, finishing the build, and listing it for sale to try to flip it for a profit. I got stuck with the car for a while, but now I'm finally wrapping up the project and getting this car ready for the dyno so that it can be tuned, dialed, and ripping for the next owner. With that being said, let's get to work.
Is this something it's gonna work?
Like, is this repair gonna be effective?
Yeah.
Most likely.
Okay.
We just have to like 100% confirm that the heater core is the thing that's leaking. The only way that I have to do that, the only efficient way that I have to do that is to take the dash out.
Okay.
Which maybe we should actually do that before we drain the coolant, because then we can run the car and see if we can see the heater core leaking. Good call. Let's do that first then. I already started pulling the carpet up, but step one is I'm gonna just get the ECU out of here just for like safety's sake. I don't wanna like leak coolant or something onto the ECU. If yours is bolted up where it should be, you probably won't have to deal with this, so don't worry about it. But if yours is sitting on the floor like mine, you should probably get it out of the way. We gotta obviously get the glove box out of the way. Glove box. Yeah, it looks like it's just a screw here and a screw here under the hinge. This is for the main relay. It's just being held to this dash frame, and I want to get this unbolted so it can drop down and not be attached to the dash. I suppose I probably could leave it and just unplug it, but I feel like this is safer. Heater core is like up in here somewhere. Okay, so I just removed the center console. There's a set of screws right here that go on the back side of the center console. There should be screws up here for you if yours is stock. Obviously mine's K-swap, so I have stuff in the way. And then there's gonna be screws here, kind of all along the sides of the center console. Just get all that out of the way, and then we're gonna remove the cup holder unit and just keep unbolting stuff. I just removed a 12 mil from here, a 12 mil from up there, and so far we are flying through the passenger side. Kern is removing the cup holder unit right now, and then we're gonna remove this next, which is gonna be the same thing, just more screws, just like that. Basically, guys, if you've never removed a dash before, you're basically just removing anything that looks like it's holding it to the chassis. I'm gonna do my best to show you every single bolt, but we may miss some. So if we do, just you give it a wiggle, you see if it's loose or not, and if it still feels like it has tension, holding it onto something, then go ahead and keep unbolting stuff. Currently moving on to removing the shroud underneath the driver's side. It looks like it's just 2 screws over there, nice. And she's removing that so that we can remove this. That panel blocks a screw that we need to access to remove this one. I've got a screw right here. Again, to remove this centerpiece, this screw on the driver's side is what that lower kick panel is blocking. Currently just giving you a heads up for this panel. There's another screw right here as well, up here. And then this panel will just pop out. Oh, electrical connector. We can get this panel out now. And unplug that on this side of that one. I unbolted the fuse box, unplugged necessary wiring connectors, unbolted the 4 bolts from the bottom of the steering column, Also, there's a 10 mil on top of the dash that they took out. All the trim panels, you guys are gonna see in just a moment. If this seems overwhelming, that's probably because it is. I'm gonna go into detail and break this all down with the dash off of the car. I'm gonna show you guys everything with the dash like on the ground and laid out.
What's it stuck on in the middle?
Shifter cables, go slow. All right, lift up. Let's go all the way back. I'm gonna scoot in here. What do you think about that? Thoughts?
No thoughts.
All right, here's the heater core. It's in here. I'm not seeing really any leaks on this side. I mean, there's like a little bit of residue here. But down here, it's pretty saturated. There's just like coolant residue all in there. The carpet, this like foam insulation pad is just soaked in coolant. It smells like coolant. I hate coolant so much. Worst fluid ever. See if we can get this baby out. Obviously, we're not gonna be able to test the coolant leak like I was saying earlier because I don't think the car's gonna start like this, like all ripped apart. If I plugged in the ECU and main relay, it might fire up. But I think we're gonna go ahead and just pull this thing because with all the coolant being on the floor, it's like pretty much confirmed that this thing is bad. So we can probably go ahead and drain the coolant and get the hoses disconnected in the engine bay. So that way this thing can just pop straight out. Also, there was a screw here holding it. There was a screw here holding it. There's a nut up here. And there is a bolt down there. I haven't taken it out yet, but once I do, this thing should technically be free and clear. Every radiator is gonna be a little bit different, but they're all gonna have usually like a little petcock down here. That's what it's called, it's a little drain. I have a coolant catch pan underneath here. I'm just gonna unscrew the petcock and let all the coolant drain out. Hopefully I don't make too big of a mess, because normally that's how it goes. It's draining really slow because I have this cap on still, but if I take that cap off, she's gonna rip.
Can you see that? There we go.
Oh, she's going. Okay, so that's gonna drain, and then we just have to disconnect that right there and that right there. This is those two pipes. This is where they come out. And then these two hoses connect to them. Check this shit out, dude.
No, it's not gonna go everywhere.
It's still gonna leak a little, but hopefully not that much. Oh, it's way up in there. This is this is air conditioning.
Wait, hold on, can you show me what that looks like up there?
Yeah, this is air conditioning. Right up in here. Oh, you want up in there?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's actually the heater core. I was totally wrong. Heater core is way up in there. And yeah, it looks like we're gonna have to pull out this whole center unit to get the heater core out, but it doesn't seem like that much. It's probably like the same amount of
So should
hardware.
we put that one back?
No, because that one had to come out for the center to come out.
Oh, okay.
It was kind of like holding everything together.
I don't think freak me out is the right word.
Like, does it feel like
It
stressful?
just seems.
Does it seem stressful?
Yeah,
Does it
maybe.
seem like hard?
Yeah. No, I don't know. Like, it makes sense. Like, we know where the...
In terms of like car guy jobs to do, this is like a pretty intimidating one for most people.
Because you have to take apart the whole car.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much. There's a nut on the firewall here, just above, like right above the hoses that I just disconnected. And there's a stud that comes through the firewall from the heater core and stuff that's inside the car. And there's just a nut that kind of holds that stud to the firewall. So I'm just unscrewing that nut, and that is a fastener that is holding the whole heater core assembly to the firewall. So now that's out.
Come on. Oh, shit. Where is the piece?
It's in here. Oh, it's leaking coolant all over the floor.
Oh, no.
Look at all that coolant residue on
Yeah.
the insulation.
All right, that's kind of what we wanted to see.
That is kind of what we wanted to see right there. So here's the unit outside the car. This obviously goes through the firewall. I just took off the little grommet. These pipes are really like smashed. Like someone smashed them. It's possible that it was leaking from there, but then like dribbling back into the cabin somehow. Either way, it was leaking from somewhere in this. So we got to get it taken apart. It could have been just because these are smashed. I'm not too sure yet. But if it was, they would need to be replaced anyway. So let's get this baby up on the bench and let's get it taken apart. Oh, that's it. I think it's got to be from these pipes being smashed. So, like I said, it wouldn't need to have been taken out anyway. All right, yo. This is the new one. Brother. All right, this is ready to go back in the car.
All right, let's do it.
But it's gonna work just fine, I'm sure. I gotta put that up in there first, probably. If I recall, it's just these two nuts up top, and then we can put this other unit back in. She giggled because I said nuts.
No, I giggle because you don't know for sure, and that's where the issue is.
Oh no, I know for sure.
There we go. Back in.
Is to reconnect to these electrical connectors. This. And that goes there. Honestly, that dash going back in, I don't even think it's gonna be that hard. All right, guys, we stopped after the last clip that you saw, so this clip is now the next day. I basically just got the heater core reinstalled into the dash, and you can see the pipes are just sticking through, and the heater core is all bolted up. But today, she's gonna be here in a little bit, and we're gonna put this dash back in the car. Now that the dash is out, I can actually show you guys very easily where all the fasteners are. I'm just gonna show you guys the dash itself, so check it out. We're gonna start from left to right. So there's gonna be one bolt that goes from outside the vehicle. Let me show you this one. It's gonna be right here. There's a bolt that goes through here and into the dash. That's a 12 mil. There's gonna be one coming through this way, that's a 12 mil. Another one coming through this way, that's a 12 mil. Those three need to be taken off, and those are, I think, like the three main ones on the driver's side of the dash. I think there's only like 1, 2, 3, I think there's only like 3 bolts that hold it over here. Potentially one up here too, I can't remember, but I don't think so. So just a couple over here. Then we're gonna move on to the fuse box. You're gonna need to disconnect the 3 connectors that are coming off of the harness that is like woven through the dash. Just kind of give this a tug and you'll see which ones they are coming out of the fuse box. It's not that hard. So unplug them. You're gonna need to unplug your antenna wire. It literally just pulls out of here. It's like pressure fit in there. Next, you're gonna wanna unbolt your fuse box. There's a nut here and a nut here, and the fuse box just sits right here. That way you can kind of pull it out and down and out of the way. You're gonna need to remove your OBD2 port. It kind of just pops out. It just is like clipped in here. You just pop it out. So that's everything right over here. It's really not too bad. Moving over further, you have 2 bolts for your steering column right here. And then you have 2 nuts for your steering column right here. I think they're both 12 mil. And then you have one back here that you have to take out. That's a little sneaky one back there. Up top, I just took out the gauge cluster. So pop out the bezel. There's just a couple screws up top and then it just pops out. And then there's a screw back here, screw back there. And I think there's 2 more up top for the gauge cluster. And then the gauge cluster comes out, unplug it. Moving over to the center, you do have to disassemble pretty much all your trim. I chose to take out the radio trim as well. I'm not sure if this is necessary, because I don't think there are any fasteners in there that hold the dash to the car. I did it purely just to unplug stuff. You might even be able to leave that in. You might be able to leave your whole radio assembly in. Down here, there's a 12 mil. Down here, there's a 12 mil. And then obviously all the screws to get the trim panels off. You gotta unplug this from your cigarette lighter. Over on this side, we're gonna start by removing the glove box. It's just a fastener down here and a fastener down here for the hinges. And then this whole thing will just come out. You do not need to take off this nut. We took off these 2, but that's just holding the airbag, so that was unnecessary. So there's a 12 mil up there. This bracket can stay. There's a 12 mil down here. And then there's gonna be, I think, potentially one 12 mil right here. Not 100% sure, but there wasn't too much on the passenger side. This was pretty easy. That's pretty much it, other than the trim panels on the sides, which, you know, you guys snaps in, there's some screws. You guys can figure those out pretty easily. I have faith in you guys. So realistically, it's just a bunch of 12 mil bolts holding this thing in, and just work your way from driver's side to passenger side. Steering column obviously has to drop down, as you guys saw. There it is. And just unplug anything that needs to be unplugged, and just obviously don't forget to plug it back in. So I'm gonna go ahead right now and replace that water pump like I was saying. But if you are curious, on a K series, it's right here. Doesn't seem too bad. I'm basically just gonna remove the belt, unbolt it, bolt the new one on, and put the belt back on. I'm hoping it's that easy. Seems that easy. Anyway, I'm gonna replace that water pump, and then we're gonna throw that dash back in. Damn. We got a problem, boys. One of these feels like it's gonna snap big time. I went to the hardware store and I picked up a 90-degree drill extension, some tiny drill bits, and a bolt extractor. That way I could drill a hole in the center of the bolt and turn it out with the bolt extractor. All right, this has been a little bit of a disaster, guys. I have removed the water pump housing. It's completely out, and that's because I basically just started ruining it while I was trying to drill out that bolt hole. Essentially, I snapped the water pump bolt so that I could replace the water pump because the pulley was wobbling. I tried drilling it out, snapped off the bolt extractor inside the bolt, essentially rendering it impossible to drill the bolt out, because the bolt extractor is quite literally harder metal than like the drill bits I was using. All kinds of different things, and nothing really seemed to work. So I ended up pulling the water pump housing, as you just saw, and tried to drill it out on the bench to give myself a little bit of a better chance of being able to drill it out. That did not work. So I have now turned to Facebook Marketplace. Yes, today's project / video is spiraling epically. Thankfully, I'm going to have chapters in the description down below, so if you don't care about any of this and you just want to see the heater core, you can just skip to that part of the video. If you want to come with me on this deranged adventure of car part destruction, come with. We're going to be driving about an hour to Racine, Wisconsin to get a new water pump housing for this engine. Somebody out there is parting out a base model RSX, which has the exact housing that I have on this K24. We're gonna go get that housing. It has a water pump already pre-installed in it. I also found out that the water pump that I have over here that's OEM does not even fit this housing, so I have to just use the water pump that's gonna be on that housing. And as long as the pulley's not wobbling and the engine is cooling how it should be, which I'm sure it will, that was a lot. Let's go. This is the housing that came off of the engine, by the way. It's literally labeled K20A3 RSX. So I know this is a base model RSX housing. I really did a number on this thing, I'm not gonna lie. I really did a number on this thing. I was a bad YouTuber, but we got the part. And it comes with a new water pump. So that's that. When I finally got back to the garage, I installed the new water pump housing onto the engine, filled the system with coolant, plugged in the main relay, plugged in the ECU, and fired the car up in order to bleed the coolant and check for leaks from the heater core and the new housing. Sounding really good. Water pump looks better. So far, 2 goals accomplished. I'm gonna go ahead and make sure I have the heat turned on so the valve's open so the coolant can flow to the heater core. And then I'm gonna just go ahead and be looking for leaks throughout this bleeding process. If we have no leaks and the heat's working just fine, then I'll go ahead and put the dash back in. It took a while for me to finesse the coolant hoses, but basically what I found ended up being the thing that made them bleed completely was I had to just like lift the upper hose. Sorry, I had to just lift the lower hose. I had to like really like move it quite a bit. There was a big air pocket stuck in it, and now the fan is kicking on, and hopefully we're not overheating. We also have heat in the chassis. Yep, fan's working, we're down to 202. fan kicks on at 205. This is great. So I'm gonna let this thing just run and kind of cycle a few times, and I'm gonna look for leaks in the heater core, see if any coolant's dripping out or anything weird's happening. And then we'll throw the dash back in. All right, see that sharp thing? A little more twist, yep. Side in, there it is. Then I went ahead and installed all the remaining fasteners and trim panels that I showed you guys when I had the dash out of the car. And now we can finally take this K24 Swapped EK Coupe out for a rip, check for leaks, and see if it's gonna overheat or if our new water pump is actually working nicely. Well guys, long story short, I put it all back together off camera. If I were to try to film every bolt going back in, this job would have taken me 2 days to get this dash back in. It's not an incredibly hard job though. I'm not joking, the hardest part of the entire job is just lifting the dash out of the car. Unbolting it's not bad. There's like 3 12mm bolts on the passenger side that you have to undo. Obviously all the dash trim has to come out. And then you can just unbolt the dash. You have to unplug a few connectors. It'll all be like very apparent. Like once you start pulling the dash out, you'll see what connectors are snagging. Go slow so you can see like what's still together and connected and stuck. And then you can just unplug stuff as you go and pull the dash out. Putting it back in is just a matter of making sure that you plug everything back in and don't have any leftover hardware. Just make sure you get all the bolts put back in. It's not too bad. Just put on some music and just jam out and just crank. Anyway, I'm about to take this thing out for a test drive. I just got plates for it, so I can finally take it like out of the neighborhood. I can take it like, you know, on a little bit longer of a test drive. So we're gonna go ahead and take it to get some coffee, because I have not had any coffee today. I figure that's a perfect place to drive to get a little bit more miles on this thing and see if we're gonna have any issues. The alignment is still not perfect, but I did align toe by eye, so it shouldn't be messing up the tires too bad or anything. That being said, let's hit the road. Fourth gear. Man, this is the furthest out of the neighborhood I've taken it. Pretty tired, but I'm trying to get hyped up here because this is pretty exciting. Brakes feel good. Oh, I have a ton of stuff in my trunk, don't I? So far, it's driving like a car, which is pretty sweet. Nothing too crazy. All right, that was kind of just a quick little test drive. I'm gonna pull over here and get some coffee at this train station. Windows roll up, power windows. And she shuts off. Parking brake works, we're in gear. Doors locked. Man, that's pretty sweet. So far, so good. It's always nerve-wracking taking a new project car or any project car on its first like long test drive. You know, around the neighborhood's one thing, because if you break down, you can always push it back. But when you're going out and about, it's a little scarier because it could involve a tow truck. Thank you. Thank you. That place is pretty cool. I've actually never been there before. It's a coffee shop inside a train station, which is kind of sick. They have all these like cool bubble tea drinks, and they have like bubble tea inspired coffee too, apparently, which is kind of sweet. It's like taro flavored coffee latte or something. I just got a black coffee. That's how I roll. Any leaks? Nothing up here. I don't see any. No leaks so far. That's big time. All right, let's get back in the car. I don't necessarily have cup holders right now because K-swap shifter cables, you gotta like kind of cut the cup holders in the EK. So I don't know what I'm gonna do with this coffee. Ugh. Maybe we'll drop the coffee off at the boost cave and then go back out. Unless it'll fit, hold on. Oh snap, dude. No way, fits a cup of coffee. Pretty snug too. That's kind of huge, dude. This car is getting better and better, man. It's just driving like a car, dude. It's so funny. You guys that were just here for the heater core install, this is probably the end of the video for you guys, because so far this car is driving great. No leaks to the train station. So far no overheating. We'll see. It was taking a while to get up to temp the other day, so we'll give it a little bit more time before we give it credit for not overheating. Clutch feels great. Transmission feels great from the last episode. The alignment, like I said, is still trash. All right, I'm trying to hit a little rip here. I'm gonna try to hit like a high RPM, second or third gear, see what happens. Type rip. Boy, she rips. Oh my God. Holy shit. Oh, dude. Pasha, you're toast, bro. This thing untuned rips, bro. Dude. My good friend Just Pasha has a stock tune B8.5 Audi S4, and he thinks that it's going to stand a chance against the K24 in the EK Coupe. He keeps telling me he's gonna gap me in his S4. Sorry, Pasha, I love you, brother, but you're toast. Oh my God, I want one of these in my EG. Oh, I want one of these in my 8th gen, dude. I want a K24 in everything, dude. Oh man, that was awesome. Holy shit, my coffee keeps falling over. I'm gonna have some cleaning to do, that's for sure. Oh man, that was a good hard rip there too. I can't wait for a tune, I can't wait for an alignment so it stops pulling me all around. This coffee's good. Checking for leaks would be a good idea right now. Zero leaks. This thing is looking great. It's sounding great. It's feeling great. Alignment, tune, that's gonna be so awesome. I'm so excited to hopefully get this into one of your hands. It'd be so cool if I got to road trip and deliver this thing to one of you guys. I'd probably bring Pasha with me if he's free. It'd be such a blast. So again, if you're interested in buying this car when it's all complete, tuned, phone number on the screen. This is my actual phone number. Serious inquiries only. This car will not be cheap because it is so nice. Please introduce yourself if you're gonna text me. Don't just text me and say, hey, I'm interested in the car. Please say, hey, my name is Joe. I'm interested in the car. Something like that. Like, I wanna know who I'm talking to. Don't be weird about it. I'm a human too. Thank you. I'll see you guys back at the boost cave. The car is officially ready for the dyno. The water pump has been replaced and the leaking heater core has been replaced. If you guys are still here at the end of this video, thank you for watching. I appreciate you all. Again, you have my phone number if you're interested in purchasing this car. Once it is complete, feel free to send me a text message. I'm down to hand deliver this car to anyone in the continental 48 states, so let me know. Next episode, we're gonna be dyno tuning this car over at Rudd's Racing with my tuner Mikey Spec, and we're gonna be doing a pretty sweet episode. It's gonna be stock K24 base map versus a street tune versus a dyno tune. We're gonna do a poll with the base map, with the street tune, and with the full-fledged dyno tune, and we're gonna compare the dyno sheets to see just how much better a full dyno tune actually is than a street tune or a base map. I'm super excited at the dyno. I'll see you guys there. I'm Boosted John. We deserve nothing, earn everything.